I'm gonna be real honest with you guys. I told myself today was gonna be the day that I was gonna record the querying update for August, which is my first month back in the trenches, and good God, it has been whiplash. But I am feeling super sick. I don't know if I got hit by the back to school germs or if it's just terrible allergies, but all through here is just totally gross. And my hair is not nothing's working the way I want it to today. But that's all right. If we could focus. Today I want to talk about how Murder Night at Hotel Adair has fared in the trenches for the first month. A little over a month at this point. So I sent my first batch of queries on July 31st. Yeah, to about 13 agents. From those 13, 5 rejected, 5 requested, and 3 I've not heard back from. Most of my requests were from social media likes and things like that. So that tells me my premise is good, but it also makes me a little bit nervous about my query because until I got a cold request, like someone who had not requested me from a pitch contest, I didn't really know how my package was really working. But about 5 days into it, I did get my first cold request. From there, I got another 5 cold requests, so I knew that my package was at least mostly working, right? I started sending out queries from there on a rolling basis, just knowing that my prose was good, my first 3 chapters were solid at hooking people who wanted this type of horror. I can't really sit down and worry about the people who rejected based on the first 3, just because typically that just means this is not their kind of book. It's just not. I got 1 rejection this month that kind of was but we'll get there. The first month you're querying, things are still very hopeful. And I honestly think it's probably the worst month in anybody's querying journey or whatever, right? Because you still have that, I could be a unicorn, thought process going on. And I thought I could go the whole video with my hair down, but I just cannot. So let's try this again. So for your first month of querying, I think it's always the worst. You're on data tracker, you are watching that querying timeline, it's gonna move right in front of you. You're checking your email even though nothing is there, nothing is there. There's no notification, there's no nothing. But in that first month, it's you could still be a unicorn, you could still have a 12-hour offer. You can still, I don't even know what it is. And, all of that still seems very possible. Once you pass that 1 month mark, it's oh shit, that's not gonna be me. And that's okay. That's normal, very normal. It's typical. It's whatever other word you want to use for it. That thought is kind of in your head, ooh, maybe this is the book that an agent will read in 4 hours and get back to me. Plot twists. We'll get to that story. So at the end of August, I was sitting at 10 requests for a 15% request rate, which is the highest I've ever been, which is wild to me because I do think this is my best book. I've said it before, but I don't think that this is the easiest book to sell. Because horror is so small, right? And we know horror is having a moment, but it's really not horror that's having a moment. It's those horror blends, the horror comedies are selling, and the horror romances are selling, and those elements, those very strong elements of horror are there, but it's not true horror. And I think what I wrote is a true horror. And so that's why I'm a little bit nervous still about getting rep. At the end of August, I was sitting at a 15% request rate, and it had never been that high, but I also received a crap ton of rejections. At the time, I'd only gotten 2 personalized rejections, so 1 on a query and 1 on a full. The 1 on a query, my mentor from Right Team Mentor had let her agent know that I was sitting in his inbox, which was really nice. And he got to me right away. He said, I love the setting, he loved something else I don't remember. And then he was like, but I don't like your main character's voice. And I was like, that's fair. She's not likable. But I do hope that she's relatable, because what she's going through is the process of like outgrowing her friends, and that can make anyone a little bit bitter, and she does come off bitter. And then I got a full from an agent who was kind of a long shot, but she had requested from a pitch event, and I was like, cool, I'll send it to her. She had some decent sales, and she requested a partial, said basically, I'm obsessed with this. And I was like, cool, me too. Like, I sent her the partial. I said, thanks, it's, I sent it in a Word doc, like, thank you for your kind words, like, whatever, right? And that was at 8:30 in the morning on Sunday, August 24th. So we're at the end of the month, right? And the next weekend, Saturday, August 30th, she upgraded me from a partial to a full and was like, I hope this is still available. Like, this is so my kind of book. Like, I'm loving this. I can't wait to see I don't know what else she said, but like, she upgraded me from a partial to a full at 10:40 that morning. And I was like, holy crap, like, I've never had a partial upgraded. Never. I either go straight from query to full, or I get rejected at the partial stage. So, like, telling me that my plot doesn't exactly line up with their vision, or it doesn't keep it going, like, whatever happens, right? So this was really promising to me. And I think, honestly, more agents should do this, because I think it is really a better milestone. Because when I read for the agent that I'm reading for, when I request a full, it's so rare that I get past like the 5th chapter. There's something in the plot, there's something in the voice, there's something that's like, doesn't keep pushing for me. And I want to know if that's also my work. I really do think that upgrading from a partial to a full is a huge measure of what's going on in your book. So I knew that she had been hooked from, I think it was 5 chapters. So she had 5 chapters. So I figured like, okay, my first 5 chapters, pretty solid. But does it really get into the fun and games? Like, no, that's still act 1 for me. So the fun and games are always kind of my nervous time. So fun and games, and then bad guys close in, because I do use Save the Cat. And I was like, cool, well, we'll see what happens next. At 1:14 later that day, so I was at lunch with my grandmother upstairs, and she had her sister over, and like we were just having a little family like get together. It was like really cute old lady lunch. And I got an email, and it was from this agent. I was like, holy crap. Like, it could be a couple of things, right? It could be I'm loving it, I'm still reading. It could be I'm going out of office, like excited to receive this. It could be like literally anything, right? Even an offer. And I was like, oh crap. And I couldn't stop myself. I got my phone out and I looked, and it was a very, very long rejection. And it was so nice, and it was so, I'd never had that much detail before in a rejection. Even with my R&R, I hadn't had this much. And she basically was like, I've been binging horror stuff recently, like movies and TV shows. And she was like, but it didn't scare me like I hoped, like it was not jump scary. And me sitting here thinking, well, like, I don't know how to jump scare in a book because you're reading it, so it's like a very different experience. And everything that I had read craft book wise for writing horror, intense scenes and everything like that, said like, don't try, like that's not for this medium. So my horror is more creeping and like dread and like no sense of escape type of horror. It's not jump scary, though she did point out a couple of things that she thought really like hit the nail on the head, and I was like, that's cool, I love those parts too. And then she was like, I have a hard time placing this. I don't think it's the book. I think it's me. Like, this is the right book, wrong agent. And I was like, whew, that hurts. It hurts so much. And like, I appreciated her saying that, because she said over and over again, like, this is subjective, this is subjective, this is subjective. It almost feels like it's not different enough. She did say like some parts were too familiar for her. And that makes me very concerned, because I did get some feedback on that for my last book. And maybe I'm not pushing myself hard enough. And it's really hard because I haven't gotten anything really personalized like that so far. And I thought that I had, subverted some things that were great. And actually she hated. Oh my God. She did not like my ending in a, she wanted to rage way. And mine is more of like a quiet, oh shit ending. And she's like, I just wanted to rage at these two people. And like, I wish I should just bring it up. Here it is. The gist of it, right, is she read the entire thing in one go. She loved the human dynamics. She thought it was very sad and painful, and she really felt for my main character. That being said, she said with her agenting hat on, she knew it would be a really difficult thing to put out there and have it stand out. Said she really hopes it will, but like these stories are kind of tricky. And she said, but with her reader hat on, she loved the elements. She was not really scared. That's when she brought in, like, she'd been watching media. And she's like, maybe I'm a bit numb, but I really think that other agents will feel differently. So all of these points make me the wrong agent rather than this being the wrong book. I do think it's great. I hope it sells. Thank you for letting me read this. I wish you all the best. So I think that's hard because is it really right book, wrong agent, or is it right book, bad execution? And I think that's something that I really have to sit with. And I love this book. And I've never like queried a book and still been like, yeah, I could work on that. So anyway, after that very heartbreaking rejection, not only did I like angry query a bunch of people, but I bought this fun book. I don't know if it's any good, but we're gonna see, because I do want to continually work on my craft, level up, and make things as scary as I can. Like, that's the whole point, right? So I'm gonna kind of dig out some craft books. I'm gonna get some like new debuts that I just got and read those while I start to draft the next thing, because that's all I can really do is wait for the replies to come in and start drafting. But you guys aren't here for that. You're here for a querying update. So I did get my rejection at 114, and that was that. So moving forward, I now have 12 requests out, including an editor who is really amazing, and I would love to work with her. There are several agents that are incredible that I'm still out with. And yeah, I think like this first month has been a lot, if we're being honest. It's been a bit whiplashy. Like every time I get a request, I get like 5 rejections, and like that's just how querying goes. And it's been like a pendulum swing of emotions, and I've been down more than I've been up, and it's been really hard. And I truly don't know how I would do this without my querying group, without my CPs, without like some other friends that I'm in Discord with. Because if you don't have that support system set up with people who really know what you're going through, it's going to be so much harder. And then, we've moved into my new house, and going on walks every day has been great. And, just trying to set up house here and just keep my mind off of it. So for the rest of the year, I do want to talk about my plans. So my friend Brie and I were talking about how hard querying is right now, and with agents like awaking from their summer slumber, we're starting to get a lot of requests, and that's leading to imposter syndrome and comparison and all of those things that suck in the query trenches. And I decided, and I hope she joins me, I'd like to do a spite list for like against publishing and like kind of the way it is, a spite list to get me through to the end of the year. I have not written this yet, but I do want to finish my first half of my new book by the end of the year. I'm going to create this spite list and I'm going to let's just add like 11 things to it. And one of those things is getting to the midpoint of this new book. You know, some of those goals, most of those goals are going to be writing related, right? This is a writing channel, but I also want to be like maybe focus on health, or maybe focus on like growing my YouTube or my other social medias. I finally got on Instagram that I hate Instagram so much, but I'm there, right? Because apparently authors are expected to be there. So I'm going to be trying to grow that, but I'm going to think of 11 things that I can do out of spite for not getting a literary agent yet, to complete by the end of the year. And so hopefully I can document those things, you know, as my vlogs go on, as my updates go on. So if you guys have any ideas, like drop them down below and I would love to consider them for my list. If you guys want to join me, like please do. Okay, so I just Googled spite list and apparently that's not a thing. Guaranteed though, people write their spite books and they get agented and sold. So like we're still gonna do this. I'm going to make my spite list. I will come back and do like a little mini update with that. And yeah, hopefully it'll be like a really fun, motivating thing to keep us going. That's really all I've got for you guys. This is gonna be another short one, but that's just my querying update. And then hopefully I'll be back with another one very soon. Thanks for hanging out. I'll catch you later. Bye.